In this episode of On the Run, we'll talk with Boston Marathon champion, philanthropist, and politician Wesley Korir. NYRR Hall of Famers Bill Rogers, joined Benoit Samuelson, and Frank Shorter will be at the desk, as will World Marathon champions Stephen Kiprotich and Edna Kiplagat, plus the amazing story of the One Spirit runners. All in this episode of On the Run at the ING New York City Marathon. Welcome to On the Run at the 2013 ING New York City Marathon. I'm Carla Bruning with Olympians Carrie, Tollefson, and Tim Hutchings, and joining us at the desk is Runner's World Editor-in-Chief David Willey. David, thanks for joining us.
Great to be with you guys. New York City Marathon weekend. It's the highlight of the year.
Let's talk about the men's professional field. Absolutely incredible.
What a field here. A little disappointing on the American side that Ryan Hall had to pull out because of an injury recently. High hopes for him, but what an incredible field. Former champions, people who've won world championships, big marathons elsewhere. It's almost impossible to pick a one favorite, and I know we're going to get into that right away. If I have to pick one, I think I'm going to go with Kebede from Ethiopia. He won London early this year, finished fourth in the world championships, won Chicago a couple times. He knows how to win big marathons.
Do you agree, Tim?
No. Whatever we say here, we're going to offend people. But, you know, Jeffrey Mutai has been operating on a different level for the last 2 or 3 years now. He hasn't run a marathon for all of this year. He's run 3 incredibly fast half marathons, including a sub-60 very recently. Mutai, I think, is very much the man. And, you know, he set a course record in 2011. He is the defending champion by 2.5 minutes. I mean, he's really operating in a different stratosphere. The only thing is there are other factors. You know, Stephen Kiprotich is the Olympic and world champion. His PR is 3 minutes slower and more than Jeffrey Mutai, so I'm not sure he's really going to be a factor. And Wesley Korir, you know, this is a guy who's run 2.6, very, very smart racer. He's got his head screwed on.
Carrie, you know what? We've been talking about all the international runners, which probably are the ones we're going to see up in the top 3. But we can't forget about our Americans. I mean, we have Meb Keflezighi, who's run here and won here, and he's our favorite, you know, to always come back to New York. So talk about Meb and our other Americans.
Meb seems to thrive most when people count him out.
Right.
Jason Hartman is here, who's finished 4th 2 years in a row in Boston, really kind of been off the radar until big finish lines. He shows up. He's a big marathoner. He's not the prototypical build, but the guy can run. And then there's Ryan Vail, another American runner, up and coming. He's been training very, very hard, running lots of miles. I heard his training is going really well.
The only thing is that Jeffrey Mutai last year transferred this course from being a championship course with a lot of lumps and bumps to being a very, very quick course 2 years ago. I mean, not last year. You know, 2:4:06. He took this course record to another level altogether. He's now talking about going, you know, down below 2:4 here. If he could do that, it would be legendary. And it's really difficult to see people living with him if he's in the aggressive form he was in 2 years ago when he put 2 minutes on the entire field in the last 10K.
Well, we'll just have to wait until Sunday to see, won't we? And coming up next, we will talk to one of the favorites, Wesley Korir of Kenya.
I'm so blessed that God has given me the talent to be able to use my talent to do what my calling is. And my calling is all these other pressures that come in.
When I run in Kenya, I see the reality. I see what I need to do. When I run past those kids, I see how they're suffering. When I run past those bad roads, all those things that needs to be fixed, that needs help. It gives me motivation to really do what I do at the best of my ability, because I know I'm doing this because I want to change this area.
And joining us now are Boston Marathon champion Wesley Korir and filmmakers Tad Munnings and Michael Del Monte. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Thank you.
What brought you guys to Wesley's story?
I was a runner, and the original concept for the film was to be able to run these long distances. You have to believe in something because there's so much unknown from the training to the race. And often these runners have some sort of faith. So I actually approached Wesley in a washroom and said, would you be interested in exploring this with us? And he was all for it. And so he said, we'll be in Kenya in a month. So we went over and started following his journey, and he just embodied these ideas of faith and believing and perseverance and all these things that make the marathon so great.
I mean, you picked the right guy. I mean, Wesley's story is just unbelievable. If you look at the fact that you're a world-class athlete, you've decided to go into politics. That's a real vocational calling. But how do you cope?
First of all, it's just being disciplined and hard work. Those are the two principles of my life that have helped me become who I am. You know, being able to be disciplined in everything I do and do the best of my ability, and just hard work.
Well, being a politician is a full-time job. How are you going to fit all that in with training as a world-class athlete? Most of the guys go to sleep between runs. You're going to be busy between training runs.
My first marathon, I ran 2:08 in Chicago. I was working full-time. So really, the fact that it's not that I'm starting right now is something that I've done in the past.
Well, we're going to see another clip of the movie that perfectly illustrates how you're melding politics and running together. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
The morning of the election, Wesley got up, 6 o'clock and put on his running gear and went out for about a 16, 18-mile fartlek. It started with him voting for himself, and it was just a great day. And I think it illustrated to the people, that capped off an understanding that this guy's different. Nobody's ever done anything like this.
All right, well, let's take a look at that clip.
Right now, I feel like running has kind of been taken away. I try to get in runs as much as possible. And honestly, when I get that run in and when I go out there and run, I love it. Especially when I can sneak out and just go run by myself without anybody following me, which will last for only a few minutes before there's a bunch of cars or motorbikes following me.
It's great to see you running and being such an integral part of your community, don't you think?
I do, and I guess, you know, when you're back in Kenya, you are an athlete and a politician in one, and you've got to wear those two hats. But here in New York now, you are an elite athlete. You can really focus upon that. You can isolate yourself from all the politics back home. What are your hopes for Sunday? Because you've got a tough field there. You've got Kebede, you've got Kiprotich, you've got Jeffrey Mutai. I mean, you've got an incredibly strong field. What are your expectations?
I think to do my best. I think I'll come in. I know I've tried my best to train despite the difficulties. I'm here, like everybody else, to win this race. I think my goal in life before I retire is to be able to win all the major marathons, especially the ones in America.
And what's it going to take for you to win on Sunday?
It's going to take a lot of believing. It's going to take a lot of God help. But mostly it's going to take a lot of being able to be in the race at the moment and every minute of it be there.
Well, best of luck to you in the race, and I can't wait to see the finished film.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. Coming up next, we will have a look at the World Marathon Majors, plus ultramarathoner Dean Karnazes will stop by the desk, and we'll see the incredible story of the One Spirit runners. All coming up after the break.
26.2 miles make it a race. You make it the marathon. You can watch it live, the ING New York City Marathon, Sunday, November 3rd at 9 a.m. on ESPN2.
Welcome back to the Timex Media Center at the 2013 ING New York City Marathon. More than 45,000 runners will be taking to the streets on Sunday. Among them, professionals and amateurs hoping to score a personal best. But also this week, we're celebrating some of the legends in our sport. Today, American marathoning legends Bill Rogers, Frank Shorter, and Joan Benoit Samuelson, and the late Ted Corbett, a founding father of the sport in this country, were inducted into the NYRR Hall of Fame as the class of 2013.
Benoit Samuelson, 56, is arguably the greatest woman marathoner of all time. She holds a special spot in the history books for her triumph at the first Olympic women's marathon at the 1984 Los Angeles Games. Benoit Samuelson won the Boston Marathon in 1979 and 1983, and she set her career best of 2 hours, 21 minutes, and 21 seconds when winning Chicago in 1985.
Rogers, 65, was the dominant marathoner in the world between 1975 and 1980, a period during which he won the Boston and New York City marathons 4 times apiece. His finest season came in 1977 when he won both of those races and the prestigious Fukuoka Marathon in Japan. He is still the only runner ever to hold the title of these 3 major marathons in a single season.
Shorter, 65, won the 1972 Olympic Marathon in Munich, becoming the first American man to win the marathon gold medal in 64 years. 4 years later, he took Olympic silver in Montreal. Shorter also won the Fukuoka Marathon for 4 consecutive years from 1971 to 1974 and was a 4-time USA cross-country champion. He was the runner-up at the 1976 New York City Marathon.
The late Ted Corbett was a towering figure in the formative years of long-distance running in this country. An African-American, he helped break the color barrier in the sport. Corbett ran the Olympic Marathon in Helsinki in 1952 and held American records at 25, 50, and 100 miles. He ran the Boston Marathon 21 times, and he ran the New York City Marathon 11 times and walked it 9 times. Corbett was a founder of New York Roadrunners and its first president. He was an innovator in the field of course measurement as well, and was instrumental in the establishment of age categories in races.
Running here on Sunday, what a difference a year makes. We are strong, whether we're in New York, Boston, or Chicago.
We are sort of rediscovering the history of distance running and marathoning, and we're seeing that everywhere, but here in New York, it's so powerful.
You always have to remember you're out there because you simply love to run.
With us at the desk are 3 luminaries of American marathoning: Joan Benoit Samuelson, Frank Shorter, and Bill Rogers. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, Carrie.
Now, you were just inducted into the NYRR Hall of Fame. You've all run the ING New York City Marathon. How has it changed over the years?
Yeah, I think the point is when Bill and I ran in 1976, the way I put it was, it really was the paradigm shift. I think we were fortunate to be part of that recognition on the part of the running community that the Olympic Marathon was something more than the Olympic Marathons and Boston. And so we were here, and just to now be able to come back and see how it's grown, and participation is now the operative word, whereas when we ran the race it was trying to win the race and run a certain time. So yeah, that really is how it's changed.
Bill, you still run 4 or 5 times a week. Are you a fan of the sport as well as being, one of the legends?
Yeah, of course. I read about you, Tim, when you were taking silver medal in the World Cross Country Championships, and we are all fans of the sport. We all have a passion, a love for the sport. But I think what's really key is that Frank and Joan are both Olympic gold medalists. This sport came from the Olympic Games and the heritage and history of the sport. And I think the kickoff here in 1976 gave the sport another venue, another way to reach more people. And I think that's what is happening more and more. The history of our sport, which is global, is becoming more well known. So that's a great thing for everybody.
And Joan, you've been a real advocate for women's running. How is it having gone from a world where, you were fighting to have an Olympic marathon to a world where you go to a race and there are more women than men?
Back when I was starting out, a woman couldn't run more than 1,500 meters because she'd do bodily harm and never bear children, according to the experts in the sport. And now 150,000 miles and 2 children later, I'm still pounding the pavement.
Joni, you're still running really strongly and, running good competitive marathons. Guys, you're a little bit like me. You're sort of leisure runners back in the pack a little bit. But how much are you doing? I mean, Frank, how much are you doing each week? And Bill, and have you guys got a marathon coming up? And what are your plans?
Well, I run about 40, 50 miles a week, but I still have a body that needs about an hour to an hour and a half more exercise. So I'm truly one of those alternate training people now.
Next year is 118th Boston, and after the bombing, we're all thinking maybe to try to run. Frank and I are really older, but Joan, I don't know if we could slow her down or
no,
we could run together, but it will be a day of unity, and that's what running is really about.
Next year in Boston, you said you may want to run with your daughter, do a a mother-daughter PR or just a mother-daughter experience?
That's all up to Abby. You know, we'll see how we're doing, but I think just being there is like being here this year. Last year it was Sandy, and it was a very tough and challenging year for not only the New York Roadrunners, but for the entire sport. And now having to come back to Boston in April will be another story of recovery and perseverance. And I said to the press after Boston this year, it was a day when triumph was trumped by tragedy, but no longer.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us. You've been an inspiration
Thank
to
you,
generations of runners. The World Marathon Majors is a series of the world's largest and most competitive marathons, including Tokyo, London, Boston, Berlin, Chicago, and New York, plus the Olympic Games and the IAAF World Championships.
Professional athletes vie for points over a 2-season cycle, leading to a grand winner-take-all prize of $500,000 for the top man and top woman. Athletes earn points by placing among the top 5 in qualifying races during the 2-year period. Points are allocated following each race as follows. First place, the winner, gets 25 points, second 15 points, third 10 points, there are 5 points for fourth and just 1 point for 5th place. The champions of the World Marathon Major Series will be the man and woman who score the greatest number of points from a maximum 4 qualifying races during the 2-year scoring period.
So what does this all mean? At the end of the 2-year cycle, the championship can come down to a single race. In this year's ING New York City Marathon, there will be 2 men and 2 women vying for the $1 million prize purse.
In the men's race, defending Olympic and world champion Stephen Kiprotich of Uganda and late entry Tsegaye Kebede of Ethiopia will duke it out to claim the 2012-2013 World Marathon Majors crown for the men. Kebede has a personal best nearly 3 minutes faster than Kiprotich, so this race is really anyone's to win. In addition, they will have to conquer one of the toughest marathon fields in the world, as well as the challenging New York City course.
In the women's race, 2-time world champion Edna Kiplagat and London Marathon champion and Olympic silver medalist Priska Jeptu, both of Kenya, will compete for the World Marathon Majors title.
Including the ING New York City Marathon prize purse, the top athletes on November 3rd could take home $750,000 each. This winner-takes-all, high-stakes drama will certainly make for an amazing race on Sunday. Joining us now are 2 world champions who are hoping to wrap up World Marathon Major wins on Sunday. We have Stephen Kiprotich from Uganda and Edna Kiplagat from Kenya.
How big is it to you to win the World Marathon Majors? $500,000 is a lot of money.
Actually, it will be something special in my career to win a big money like that, which I've never thought of it. But if I win, then it will be something important and it will be in history.
What I know many people are curious about is your PR, your fastest time is outside 2:07, and you're up against Kebede, who has broken 2:07 many times, I think 9 times or something. You're up against Geoffrey Mutai, who's run the fastest time ever, you know, and is the defending champion here. How are you going to cope with those guys on Sunday if they go out at a very quick pace? Supposing it's 62 minutes at half marathon, will you go with that?
Yeah, for me here, I'm ready for everything to happen. If they go with 62, I'm capable.
And Edna, you come here with a shot at the World Marathon Majors title as well. Last year, you were favourite to win the $500,000, and of course, thanks to Hurricane Sandy, the race was cancelled. You didn't get to nail it. Is that in your mind as well, or are you thinking in isolation about Sunday's race?
Yeah. It's in my mind to go for the World Marathon Majors. I've tried for 3 times and I've missed it, so I'm hoping it's going to be my day on Sunday, and I feel it's going to be a great opportunity for me to win it.
Now, Edna, because I'm a new mom again and you have 5 children,
yes.
How do you juggle it all? How do you make it happen and become one of the world's best obviously you are the world's best right now marathoner.
Yeah, after World Championship, I was we were able to adopt another baby, 1 month, 2 months old now, called Mercy, and always we plan for everything, and it has been successful. Our 4 kids are big, old enough to know that whatever we are doing, it's for the benefit of us, and so they are always there to support us.
And Stephen, you have 3 kids at home, including a young infant. How do you juggle it all?
Actually, I say I have to salute my wife because she's doing a lot of work in the house, keeping the babies when I'm not around, and she's also giving me a lot of time to train.
Well, I'm sure your families will be cheering you on from home in Uganda and Kenya, and the best of luck to you. We're all very anxious to see what you can do on Sunday.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are joined by 2 of the celebrity entrants in the ING New York City Marathon who are both running for charity, Bill Rancic and Dean Karnazes. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Dean, you've run this race 6 times before. You finished your 50 marathons in 50 states in 50 days right here in New York. What keeps you coming back?
The magic of it. I mean, I've run marathons across the globe, and there's just something about the New York City Marathon. It's the most celebrated, it's the grandest of all, and every year I come back. Yeah.
Tell us about your charity that you're running for.
Well, it's Action for Healthy Kids. So I've got 2 kids of my own. I know how hard it is to motivate kids to get healthy these days, and certainly we're facing an epidemic of childhood obesity in this country. And I figured, you know, if I could be a good role model and help in any way I can, I'm up for the game. So.
And about how many races are you running a year these days?
It's literally every weekend, if not more. So probably 40 or 50.
Bill, you are running your first ING New York City Marathon.
I am, and I'm running it with a twist. So there's 48,000 runners. I'm 48,001 to go off the block. So I'm the last one to start the race. And then every person I pass, Timex is going to donate $1 to breast cancer. Nice. So, you know, I'm hoping Dean lets me pass him along the way.
And I'll wait at the finish line. I won't cross.
That's all I ask, is if everyone could just hold off at the finish line and let me pass them. I want to raise as much money as I can for breast cancer.
Yeah, you know,
how
everyone.
much money?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm, you know, I don't want to get cocky, but I'm thinking somewhere in the $25,000 range.
Okay.
It's a lot of passing.
It's a lot of passing, but what, 7,000 don't finish, so at least that's considered a pass if they don't finish, right? I mean, so I'm good there.
So Juliana, your wife, is obviously going to, hopefully, will she be here to enable to cheer you on?
Juliana will be here.
Okay.
She's a breast cancer survivor,
Yeah,
so you know, certainly running it in her honor and her behalf, and she's going to be along the way cheering me on, I hope, and you know, I just hope I can deliver a good time, that's all.
Dean, do you have any words of wisdom for Bill over here as he
I need all the help I can get, Dean.
tackles his first marathon?
I would say start slow and taper from there.
You're a household name in running circles. Can you run a marathon without people coming up to you constantly and saying, hey, Dean, I read your book, or chatting you up?
And it's glorious. I mean, when I run a marathon, it's pretty much surrounded by people talking the whole way. So I get some extra cardio training because I'm talking. You know, I can't breathe, but no, it's a phenomenon. I mean, no matter what country I go to in the world, runners all have this kindred spirit. We're all very passionate people, and it's beautiful. I mean, if we don't speak the same language, we run the same footsteps. Yeah. So you'll see in New York City, there's a lot of people from foreign countries that don't speak English, and when you're running together, you're you know, brothers and sisters. Yeah.
Well, being the first winner of The Apprentice, do you think you're going to get a runner on there? Because we are very perseverant, we are very focused, we are driven, and we know how to get a job done.
I mean, you know, we're going to. I'm gonna do my best. I'm very competitive. You know, I don't like to lose, and you know, I've got Amani Toomer, who ran it 2 years ago. He started dead last, and then I had a Jenny Finch who had done it. So I've definitely looked up their times. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
And 4:13 is the time to beat. Okay. And if I could come in and right around there, that'd be my personal best, and certainly hope I can do it. So
we're looking forward to it.
The weather's supposed to be perfect for a PR. So
it is.
Yeah.
Okay,
it
good.
Is.
Just watch those bridges. They're
tough,
yeah.
right? Yeah. We're going to talk later.
Those
Dean.
bridges.
I'm going to buy you coffee.
They're not really bridges. They're hills.
They're
big hills.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
well, thank you so much for joining both of us, and I hope you're both able to do a lot of good for the charities that you're
Thanks
running.
for having us run by.
Yeah, definitely.
Today's Cold Hard Moment is brought to you by Coors Light.
Today's Coors Cold Hard moment of the day was the induction of running legends Frank Shorter, Bill Rogers, Joan Benoit Samuelson, and Ted Corbett into the New York Roadrunners Hall of Fame. This amazing class is a collection of some of the greatest running legends in history. And that's today's Coors Cold Hard moment.
It was another great moment here at the ING New York City Marathon, and there'll be plenty more to come this week. Stay tuned for more inspirational stories.
Run with the team instead of a gang.
Run so fast food can't catch you.
Run to accelerate in the classroom. Run to turn dead ends into open roads.
Run to be a success story,
not a statistic.
New York Roadrunners free running programs move kids forward and help foster healthy communities. To donate or learn more, visit NYRR.org or call toll-free 855-NYRR-RUN.
.2 miles make it a race. You make it the marathon. You can watch it live, the ING New York City Marathon, Sunday, November 3rd at 9 a.m. on ABC 7.
Welcome back once again to the Timex Media Center here in Central Park. There are 45,000 runners competing in this race on Sunday, and each one of them brings something to the event.
Yeah, isn't it weird? We single out a couple of dozen people up here and on the run through the week, but actually every single runner is special, is running for a unique reason. And you could stop any one of the 45,000 on race day, I reckon, and have a chat with them about why they're running and get a great story, really empathize with it.
Yeah, their journeys along the course or along their training path getting here would be so amazing if we could hear each and every one of them. But I truly can't wait to see the starting line and the finish line just to see the emotion that comes across all of their faces.
Well, this year's theme is You Make It a Marathon. And here's one group of runners who makes it something special indeed. These are the One Spirit Runners.
Do you understand a horse? When you run with them, you feel something with them, a spirit.
My name is Amanda Carlo.
My name is Kelsey Goodlance.
I'm Alex Wilson from Pioneer, South Dakota, member of the Old Glass Sioux tribe.
Crazy Horse, Red Cloud, Sitting Bull, all that history revolves around the Lakota people.
Some of these guys have been preparing a good 6 months now in the New York Marathon.
We're trying to make a dream happen.
We're trying to raise money to build a building for youth in Allen.
I think about going to New York and seeing all them people and a lot of runners. My hands get all sweaty, like how they are now. I start thinking about it.
I think it's really cool just like being able to be like a positive representation of the tribe.
I've been waiting for something like this to happen where the kids are making an impact.
We are here at the crossroads of New York City in Times Square with Team One Spirit. Welcome to New York, everybody. Thanks. What are your first impressions of the city?
I think it would be hard to describe it, but first word comes to my mind is incredible. It's just awesome to be here in this big city, Big Apple. Hopefully try to take a bite out of it.
Right thing for the city of New York and the long term of this marathon is that it doesn't go on tomorrow.
When we first had the hurricane come through and we saw the devastation on TV, our thoughts immediately went back to the reservation and how things are there and how people try to survive in those conditions daily, right? Often without heat, often without water, often without electricity. We understand what people here are going through. We want to do whatever we can here, whether it's to get to Staten Island today and to help if it's where it's needed, the Race for Recovery on Staten Island. I've also seen a couple of numbers to call to find out where you could go, and if we can get there, we will be there.
Staten Island, these guys needed help unloading their truck. A lot of people donated supplies and everything to their community. Clothes, toiletries, water, food. All we did was stop and help unload on our run.
They canceled the marathon, but we're not mad about it. We're still gonna go around, we're gonna go do this and support New York and just give back to them.
disastrous. Looks terrible. It's like a big dump in the middle of someplace.
Thank you so much. I'm happy everybody come to help me. Seriously, I'm from my heart, you know.
And I just want to thank all these people who come from all over the country to help us.
Joining me now is Jerry Baker, the director of One Spirit, and two of the One Spirit runners, Alex Wilson and Amanda Carlo. Well, welcome back to New York City, you guys.
Hey.
After the marathon was canceled last year, you went to Staten Island and helped with the relief efforts there. What was that experience like?
It was amazing, just being able to help everybody that was going through, devastation. And although people were, surprised about the marathon being canceled, all of them were apologizing to us, and we're like, no, it's fine. We're just glad we were here to be able to help. So.
Now, you guys were doing your own charitable work, raising money for a youth center at the Pine Ridge Reservation. How's that been going in the last year?
Actually, it's coming along very well. We're hoping that by the spring that we will start to break ground for the youth center. They have, in the meantime, started working on youth running programs, and they had a Run to Remember. You know that on Pine Ridge there's a lot of youth suicides and youth deaths due to drugs and alcohol and other things. So they had a Run to Remember in May of this year and brought out 400 runners.
Now, you guys have had an extra year to train for the race. What have you been doing this last year? Have you done any other races in between, and how's your training going?
Yeah, I did some other marathons, half marathons. Then my training, I've been pushing it more, but I always want to be in the back with these guys and talking. Then I just think about that. If I keep running, and maybe in 2016, 15, I'll be back here with these guys and some of the fastest guys in the world. And that's where my goal is. I want to be a top runner. As that, I was a top runner in high school, so that's why I wanted to be back here with these guys.
Do you have a time goal for this race?
Between 2:40 and 2:35.
That's fast. How about you, Amanda?
I'm going for a 3:45.
So that's super fast too. And how's your training been going? What have you been doing this last year?
It's been going good. Just been running out on the roads and different cross-country courses back home. And I coach cross-country, so I run with my middle school runners. And we went to Vermont and did a Spartan challenge, so that was pretty neat to add into our training. So it's been going good.
And now that you guys finally get to run this race, run the ING New York City Marathon, what are you most excited about?
I just see everybody, see all the runners, like what we was waiting for last year, and then just the video gets me nervous just looking at it, and you're gonna be with that many people.
How about you, Amanda?
I think running through all of the boroughs and just seeing all of the people cheering us on and then crossing the finish line is what I'm looking forward to the most.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us once again this year, and I sincerely wish you the best of luck and have an amazing race out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Experience the excitement of race day no matter where you are. Friday, November 1st, watch the entire marathon opening ceremony presented by United Airlines, live on ABC 7 starting at 5:30 p.m. Eastern and on 7online.com.
Saturday, November 2nd. The Marathon Eve Experience will air live on ABC 7 at 7:30 p.m. Eastern from the marathon finish line. Eyewitness News anchors Liz Cho and David Navarro give viewers a primer on what they can expect during the running of the 43rd ING New York City Marathon.
Sunday, November the 3rd, race day. Live race coverage in the New York City metro area will be on ABC 7 from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern and nationwide on ESPN2 from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Viewers can see race highlights too from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2 and on their local ABC affiliate. International viewers can watch the broadcast via a live digital stream on 7online.com from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern.
No matter where your fans are on race day, they can follow your journey via the web, text, and our mobile app. Track My Runners on the web. On race day, spectators will be able to track up to 10 runners at a time. No pre-registration is required and the service is free. Sign up on race day at trackmyrunners.nyrr.org.
follow our official Twitter and Instagram feeds on race week, race day, and beyond. Remember, you make it the marathon. So join the conversation using hashtag INGNYCM.
And be sure to tune in to the next episodes of On the Run tomorrow and Friday at 8 p.m. Then a special On the Run at the Dash to the Finish Line 5K will go live on Saturday at 5 p.m. And the recap of the 2013 ING New York City Marathon will go live on Monday at 4 p.m. So stay tuned. So many great stories we've heard today. What are your thoughts after today, Tim?
I'm still in awe, actually, of the talent we've had up here at the desk. You know, we've had 3 Olympic champions here. We had Joni, of course, and Bill Rogers. You know, the Olympic champions, the world champions, the world ranked #1 athletes we've had up here today. The experience has been quite special for me. I'm still a fan of the sport, you know, so I'm like a kid like that.
Yeah, and I'm excited that we got to meet the 2 reigning world champions right here. And even better, they're both parents. Like, I love that Edna has a brand new baby back home, and Stephen does as well. He has a 4-month-old at home. And you know what? They're both vying for $500,000, but yet they are the most down-to-earth and great people. So how fun will it be to watch them run on Sunday?
Well, and I love getting to know more about these athletes and hearing from a professional like Wesley Korir, who has the running side of his life, but is also really trying to make an impact in his home country. There are so many amazing runners that make this race what it is, and we'll hear from more of them tomorrow. Americans Meb Keflezighi, Jason Hartman, and Alicia Williams will stop by the desk, as will the reigning ING New York City Marathon champion, Geoffrey Mutai. Plus, we'll talk to one of the best wheelers in the world, Tatiana McFadden. Stay tuned. This is all happening on the run tomorrow. From the ING New York City Marathon Timex Media Center, I'm Carla Bruning with Carrie Tollefson and Tim Hutchings, and we are on the run.